So, alright, so first and foremost, and I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kakodash. We say the most apostle, Elohim, Sadri, Musan, Ruah, teaches our apostle in truth, and we see salutations, so yeah, I can the push you within our truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season or that season. We say Shalom. And once again, going into a video here, and this basically touching upon patience, right? It's such a necessary thing to have when you're in the truth, right? Now, this might be a two-part video, whereas one, the importance of having patience, and the other one, part two, may be them that lose patience, right? But looking up the word patience, it says the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious, right? Or anxious. And that is how it's supposed to be. That is where patience is in who? The Lord. You know, the scriptures talk about the patience of the saints, right? So these is men that would what? They would tolerate delay. You know, they would it say or suffering without becoming annoyed. So and we don't know we're supposed to the scriptures talk about the suffering, they talk about the chastisement, they talk about these things. But they have to have that patience. It's such a necessary thing, right? Because we have seen those that again, as I said, I'll do a part two, but we have seen those that lose their patience. They become annoyed in that waiting. You know, who waiting for who? The Lord. You know, they give up. You know, they give up on that race. So they lose that patience. So that is why it's such an important thing. You see, the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Right? Even when they go down, even when you go down here, it's a Middle English from. Let me see if I can highlight it. Yeah, yeah. It's a Middle English from Old French. It's a from Latin, pa, what is patientia or patientia, right? It's a from patient suffering, right? Suffering, right? Most likely I butchered the word before, but to get to the point, it says this: it says suffering, right? So going down again, it says patience. It says what is the real meaning of patience? It says patience is a person's ability to wait something out or endure something tedious without getting riled up. And that is when the scriptures talk about the patience that we're supposed to have. That is how it's supposed to be, to endure the things that we are facing without getting riled up. Because no, you have to understand that the joy is supposed to have in the Lord, serving Him and going through the things that they're going through, right? But we're supposed to have that patience, to endure something tedious without getting riled up. But we have seen those that lose their patience because they get riled up because they couldn't wait no more. They couldn't endure no more. So what they did, they gave up, right? They gave up on a race, right? You know, there's always a famous picture where you see two miners digging, right? Two miners digging to get diamond. One lost patience and he turned back. And he was right there to the end. He was right there to get the diamond. And the other one continued, you know, facing whatever elements he had to face, you know, while digging the mines. And he continued to go and he ended up getting the diamonds, right? So the importance of having that patience, right? That is a person's ability to wait something out or endure something tedious, right? And when they go to the scriptures, this is the book of Hebrews chapter 6 verse 9. It says, but beloved, we are persuaded, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation, though we thus speak. It says, for God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints, and do minister. So the Lord won't forget that work that they do, right? It says verse 11, it says, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. And that's the thing, when you have that patience, you get a hope, right? So it say, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance, to the full assurance of hope unto the end. It says verse 12, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience, right? Through faith and patience inherit the promises. So again, it goes to show that the importance of having patience, but it also goes to show that we must have patience, right? So that way it said that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience, right? So that person would have been what? that have been going through, they would have been enduring, right? As we say here, enduring, they were tolerating, problems, you say, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious, because again, the word patient go back to what? Suffering. And we know where to go through these things. But true suffering is how you know a man. Because when he give up, you know that man, he can't endure. He can't go through any hard times. He fall, right? But them that had that patience, that hope, that faith, the things that you're supposed to have when you're serving the Lord, will see you through down to the end. It says the scriptures talk about holding fast, unto the end. And that is how it's supposed to be. And with these type of things, what they mention here, it says faith, patience. These are things that you're supposed to have. It may sound to someone, it may sound small, but these is things necessary to have in your journey, especially being a man of the Lord, right? Because you would suffer. You would be going through things that you have to endure. You would lose things. But you have to have that patience, and the Lord to go through these things, right? So that way it say, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to full assurance of hope unto the end, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. Through faith and patience inherit the promises, because you don't want to be one of those that give up, right? Because where it have those that would have that patience and see down to the end, they would tolerate the delay, right? They would go through the suffering. As also it say here, what? It say to wait something out. They wait it out, these things are going to come upon us and so forth and so on. They would endure until what? Until the end. They would hold fast, right? And then it have those that would, as they wouldn't endure. As something come, they can't tolerate that delay. They like, hey, it's taking too long. It's at him and talk about 1,000 years and all this other stuff, because they lose that patience, right? That was say most likely they'll do a part 2 to it, but it have those that lose that patience, that give up, right? They didn't endure, right? So even when you look up, it say what are the 3 types of patience according to research by psychologist Sarah Snickter, right? It say it comes in 3 main varieties. It say interpersonal patience, life hardship patience, and daily hassles patience, right? So it goes to show the hardship, the daily hassles, things that may seem tedious, but they have to endure, right? So let me go to another scripture here. It's the book of Hebrews chapter 10, verse let me read from verse 30, verse 34. It says, for ye had compassion of me in my bonds, and took joyfully the spoiling of your goods, knowing in yourselves that ye have in heaven a better and an enduring substance. It says, cast not away therefore your confidence, which have great recompense of reward. And again, when you have this patience and you're enduring and you're going through these things, at sometimes, you become a man of experience, and patience, going through the hardship, it folds it to be a better person. So whereas certain things may come your way, you already go through something hard, you know how to deal with the matter, right? Instead of just giving up. That way it says a person who could do what? A person who has patience is someone could endure, something tedious, right? Without getting riled up. Because when it come here, you're like, okay, cool. It is where it is. Because again, that is why now you have your faith in the Lord, that no matter what it is coming away, you know where you come out of it. There is a trust in the Lord, right? So even it's say, what does patience mean in the Bible? Patience in the Bible is the ability to endure difficult people and situations without giving into anger or giving up hope. And that is the thing. You continue to, as it say here, difficult situations, people and difficult situations, because why? We know the things that we would face. The scriptures talk about the sufferings that we would have to endure, the trials, the tribulations, these things. But we're not supposed to give up. And with that patience, you know what? Hey, you're literally not going to lose that hope. That's why I say without giving into anger or giving up hope, because once you do have that patience, you get angry. You see it with men who do have that patience as something come onto them, as some form of hardship come onto them, they sort of get angry one time, they rile up, they say, oh, thing, you know, thing, they sort of act out, right? Because why? The stuff that happening to them, they can't endure, they don't have the patience to go through it. And whereas they wanted to do what? They want that hardship to disappear as soon as possible. And if it can't, they give up, they find some other method, you know, which is not turning to the Lord. You know, they go to the world and so forth and so on, and hey, they lose their patience, right? So that going back to the scripture, they say, cast not away therefore your confidence, which had great recompense of reward. They say, for ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of God, ye might receive the promise. For ye have need of patience. The scripture saying that ye have need of patience, right? That after ye have done the will of God, ye might receive the promise. So that is the thing. You endure the hardship to receive the promise. The things that were given unto us, but you're not supposed to give up. You know, we had an entire time where, you know, the scriptures talk about, you know, Jacob's trouble, right? You know, all these things the scriptures talk about, you know, let's roughly paraphrasing the instruction them that fear the Lord. You know, these people will be coming against us and so on, more harsh than what it is now. And what is it going to do? You have to have patience to go through these things, right? Whatever hardship coming with patience to go through it, and supposed to give up, because once you don't have patience and you start to rile up, you start to get angry, you say, why this happening unto me? Why this happening to me? You start to stray away. And that is why it say that ye might receive the promise, because again, that is what we aiming towards too, right? It say verse 37, it say, for yet a little while, and he that shall come will come, and will not tarry. So that is the thing. But you had the patience, as I said, they say, for yet a little while. You know, it have a appointed time that the Lord coming back too. We don't know it. You know, no one knows. But at the end of the day, we know he's coming back. So you're not supposed to give up. So you have to have patience to wait. That way it say the ability to endure difficult people and situations without giving into anger or giving up hope. You know, hope being the next thing that, hey, you know, the scriptures mention certain things that we're supposed to have, right? And these is things that we have to have. It's that the word patience was running through my head for a couple of days. You know, I said I'll do a video on it, because when you're watching some of the videos, you see the apostles, the elders going into it with, like, with Sakari, you know, some of these other men that followed. They could see that they lose their patience because they could not endure no more. Right, they could not face the hardship that they're facing, you know, maybe money wise and so forth. You know, it's always money thing with Jake. And they give up, you know, they give up. You know, they lost their hope, they lose their patience. Right? So that way it say, for yet a little while, and he that shall come will come. Yeah, so and we don't know, that is what we're waiting for. Right? And that's why it say, and he that shall come will come and will not tarry. So yeah, so you have their patience, you know, had to have that patience to endure that until he come. Right? Well, this is the faith and the patience of the saints. It said, no, the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. And you don't want to be that person, right? You don't want to be that person that draw back, right? You want to be that person that continue to do what? To have that faith, continue to be in patience and meekness, all these things that we're supposed to have, certain characteristics, certain things a man of the Lord supposed to have, right? I say, but we are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul. And that is the thing. That is what we are, right? Them that believe to the saving of the soul. Because we don't want to draw back to perdition, right? We don't want to be that person. We want to continue having that patience, continue having that hope, that meekness, that faith, right? You know, and many other things that we're supposed to have, right? We see, and again, we have seen, and we are also seeing examples of men that lose that patience, right? That lose it. You know, they're not waiting for him that coming back. They find he tarrying too long. You know, so they find some other method or find some other way to do things in this world, right? You don't want to be like that. So this is James chapter 1, verse 3. Right? Matter of fact, start from verse 2. Say, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. So you say, count it all joy. And that is what, like was mentioned earlier in the video, when it say, It's the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, problems, or suffering, or becoming annoyed. So you what? You count the temptations, you count the sufferings that they may going through, and you ain't become annoyed with it. That is why you hear certain the apostles, the elders, and countless of brothers tell younger men, hey, the things that they're going through, we went through it, and they just continue to go through it. This is things that they're facing the truth. Don't give up. And don't use what it is they're going through as an excuse, right? So that way it say, my brethren, count with all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Yeah. Count with all joy. Because again, we know the scriptures talk about when the Lord chastised, he did it like a son. Right? Let's say verse 3, it said, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. So yeah. So knowing this is something that you're supposed to know. Right? Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. So the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work. Yeah. And that is why I tell them, let patience have a perfect work. Don't try to rush it. Don't get annoyed. Just let patience have a perfect work. Go through the things. Endure. That way it say to what? To suffer. Right? Or one of the words they use is to endure. So you're making patience have a perfect work. You say that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Yeah, because why? You go through it. Without patience, you go through it, go through. And it strengthens you then. It's strengthening, right? And that is how it's supposed to be. That is why patience is such an important thing. That is why it have a saying, I know how to tell my mind and it slip again. If it is fishing, right? If it's a fisherman, they tell you, to have patience, it might go hours without getting a bite. Some men give up. But if you once you have that patience to continue, more than likely something will take that line. Right? So it goes to show having a patience and making patience work a perfect work, especially in this thing, right? You don't want to be one of those that give up when those diverse temptations come. You give up. You become one of them that do what? That rile up. That way it say they get anger, they get annoyed. Why this happening unto me, right? Why this happening unto me? I need this thing to go now. So that way it say, what is another word for patience? It say patience, endurance, fortitude, stoicism, right? To be stoic imply qualities of calmness, stability, and persistent courage in trying circumstances, right? So it say calmness again. That was mentioned earlier. When you're going through things, hey, just go through it calm. That way say conquer all joy, Yeah, whatever hardship come away, just be calm in it, man. Because that way you trust your faith supposed to be in the Lord. Yes, it may be rough. Yes, it may be, it rough on you, it hard. But that is where your long suffering come in, that way your endurance come in, that's where patience come in, your faith, that it will conquer it. It's your stability and persistent courage in trying circumstances. That is it. And persistent courage in trying circumstances. And when the circumstances hit, you continue going, not giving up, right? So this is James chapter 5 verse 10. It says, take my brethren, the prophets, who are spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. It says, behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of patience of Job, the patience of Job. Again, you see, right? You see, ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercies. But above all things, my brethren, swear not, neither by heaven, neither by the earth, neither by any other oath, but let your yea be yea, your nay be nay, lest ye fall into condemnation. Right? Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Right? So he's telling you're afflicted, you'll pray. You're merry, sing a psalm. Right? It says, is any among you sick? Let him call for the elders of the church. Let him pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. So it's telling you're going through things in your life, how to deal with it. It are men that will go through that affliction, that sickness, and they give up. They lose their patience. They turn to something else, right? Right? So, just going back, that's what the scripture say what? Take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience, for example unto us. Right? They say, behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard the patience of Job. Yeah, and Job did what? All the things Job went through, he still didn't give up on serving the Lord. Right? Even his wife told him what to do, what? Curse the Lord, and he did not. Right? So that again, that why it say to going through that patience, you ain't move to anger, you ain't give up hope. That why it say to what? It say what? Without getting riled up. Job went through all them stuff. Yeah, he basically lose everything. Right? But did he give up on the Lord? No. And that's why it mentioned the patience of Job. And I've seen and watch what he received at the end. Right? I say, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercies. Right? So again, it goes to show the importance of what? Having that patience. Whereas there are many other scriptures that you can bring that shows that we're supposed to have that patience, such a very important thing. Right? Read the book of this is the book of Sirach, chapter 16, verse 13. It says, the sinner shall not escape with the spoils, and the patience of the godly shall not be frustrated. So right? So hey, again, the importance of having that patience is having patience is such a very important thing. Right? So with that, once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Kakodash. We said about some personal elders agreements and rule teachers our personal truth, and we see salutations so we are coming to push you with truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season or season. We say Shalom.